Hi everyone, welcome to another episode. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about 2024. I want to reflect on it because I think that's a really important thing to do in regards to having a look at. We want to be driving forward and we want to be moving forward and pushing ourselves to the next level, but also we only can do that and we can only establish a solid foundation when we look back and see how far we've come. So what I want to do is I want to break down 2024. I'm going to break it down into a few categories. I'm going to recommend everything from books, finances, fitness, and your career and your job. So those are the four components. I think if we get those established, we can then look at going forward into the next year, establishing those daily habits and successful wins. So stick around. So the first topic I want to cover is maybe a bit of a strange one, but again, I'm not a massive reader, but I do invest in reading. I try to read every day. It's tough, even if it's just for 20 minutes. I'd recommend doing something creative and reading for at least 20 minutes a day. It just gets you away from the screen and gets you into the book. And it's very easy once you start reading just to get into the flow, and then you kind of disconnect and you feel better afterwards because you have just got away from the world and you've kind of learned about something that you want to focus on. So there's 3 books that I want to focus on. I have read obviously more than 3 books this year, but I think this is a good idea in regards to the different types of categories that you can look at in regards to making yourself well-rounded and moving forward into the next step. So the first book I'm going to recommend is for those like myself that aren't massive readers, and that book is The Daily Laws by Robert Greene. This is basically his best hits of all of his books that he's done. If you've not heard of Robert Greene, I'd highly recommend you research it. He has done a very well known book called The 48 Laws of Power. Now, every month in this book is a different human instinct, behavioral trait, whatever you want to call it, and it's basically his best hits from some of his books. So it could be on military strategy, it could be on emotion, it could be on creativity, all of those types of things. He breaks it down one per month, and then you have a page per day, which normally has a little bit of historical quote, a little bit of something from his book like an extract, and then he just gives you a daily law, which may be a sentence long. It just gives you something to reflect on. It's a really good thing to do first thing in the morning to kind of get your day centered, and then just while you haven't got the burdens of the world on you yet, doing it there. So that's the first one. The next one is How to Be a Stoic. Now, I got this book because I got into Stoicism last year, and it's something that I think we've all heard of, Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus and these types of people. You've heard of the ancient Greek Socrates and all those types of people. But this is a really good book for those that want to learn more about Stoicism. And again, like the title says, it's How to Be a Stoic, Ancient Wisdom for Modern Living. So it's taking those principles and laws but adapting it into real life. So again, that's a really good book if you're learning about Stoicism, and it's basically a beginner's guide. So you can then go away and read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations and Epictetus and Socrates and all those people alongside reading that, because that will give you the theory, I guess, whereas the actual raw material gives you the poetry and the kind of creativity. And then the last one I recommend is hopefully a known book. I highly recommend it, called The Psychology of Money. This is probably one of the most important books you could ever read. And the reason is it talks about how to save your relationship with money, because a lot of the stuff, and I probably mentioned this in a few videos, we don't get taught about money in school, and there's a reason for that, but I'm not going to go into that here. So it's called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, and it basically gives you that kind of in-depth psychological view on your relationship with money, but it also gives you investment advice. I would just say, as a starting point, I highly recommend The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. So those are my 3 books. Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, How to Be a Stoic, Ancient Wisdom for Modern Living by Massimo Pilucci, probably butchered that, and Robert Greene, The Daily Laws, basically his best hits. Highly recommend that. So that's a nice segue, I guess, into finances. I'm going to give you a very, very quick rundown of how I think about money and some of the tools and techniques you can use for the next year going forward to just get better in regards to either paying off debts, saving, and investment. First things first, most people don't know their incomings and outgoings. The first thing that you need to do if you don't is have a spreadsheet. I have one, my wife has one, and it's such an easy conversation I have now because I know exactly what her cash reserve is, she knows what my cash reserve is, she knows what my investments are, the savings, the joint account, the joint credit cards, all that type of stuff. It's on a piece of paper and we can literally forecast, and this is what I did yesterday. Got the spreadsheet, this is my income, this is how much I want to put into investments, this is how much disposable I have, therefore this is how much money I can spend on my credit card per month. And it literally is as simple as that. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be chances and opportunities and debts and unforeseen things that happen where you're going to go, uh-oh, that's not in the plan. This is why. So the first thing is, if you have any debts at all, focus on paying those off. What I mean by that is predominantly credit card debt. So have a look at getting your credit card debt paid off. Once you've got yourself into a position where you can pay off your debts, especially on your credit card monthly, I would then look at making sure you have what's called a cash reserve. Now this is predominantly for if something happens and you have 3 months worth of savings on the side that's just accruing interest. You can get 4% easy savings account these days. Just put it in there, let it accumulate. It's for an emergency. You could also use it for if you want to get a new car, a new holiday, those big expenses that you might be coming down the line. You can just put some money into those type of pots. So some people maybe have 5 savings account and they put their money in depending on what pot of money they want to spend it on. If they're looking for a new house, new car, or a holiday, that type of thing. Once you've got your cash reserve, this is where if you've got some disposable income, you don't need that much money in your current account. That's one of the worst things you could possibly do. And don't pay cash for everything. Use a credit card. I've never paid cash for anything in the last 10 years. So I used to work in credit cards. I know how credit cards work, so therefore I can get credit cards to work for me. I haven't paid a penny as interest in maybe 15 years. I've never paid any interest. I've been just thinking how long I've had a credit card for. So having a credit card, first of all, is a very secure way of actually paying for transactions, i.e. if someone steals your identity and they use that, it's not your money, it's the bank's money. The bank will want to recoup their money more than they want to recoup your lost cash. Trust me, I've worked in that industry. That's why a credit card is more secure, and you're using somebody else's money that first of all you can claim points on, you don't have to pay it off straight away. My rhythm is, and this is a little tip, I get a credit card every 2 years. I let it build up and then I'll pay it off. The money that I have put aside for my credit card is accruing interest. So that's on the side accruing interest. I let the credit card build up, I'll pay it off, close it down, get a new one, another 2 years interest free, start the same process, build up, cash reserve, so forth and so on. Never paid a penny of interest. Get credit cards to work for you. This is where the discipline comes in, hence that book, The Psychology of Money. Tips so far: get a spreadsheet, pay off your credit card debts, use a credit card first of all. That's probably one of the best pieces of advice you can get. Again, it's more secure, that type of stuff. But just be wary of your behavioural patterns and that type of thing. Once you've got some disposable cash, make sure you've got 3 months worth of savings in regards to 3 months worth of supply of emergency funds. Once you've got that, this is where we get to the fun bit. Have a look at, for investments, low cost index funds. I'm going to do a separate video on this. Morgan Housel talks about it in The Psychology of Money, but very simply, they are a very cheap, normally computer driven index fund. What is a fund, first of all? Let's just go back a step. A fund is basically, instead of you putting money into Facebook, Amazon, Apple, you put your money into a technology fund with a supplier. They will charge you 0.2%, something like that, fee, and they basically get your, let's say, £100, and they distribute it out to loads of different stocks and shares. So you're basically, depending on what you put your money in, you get a piece of that pie. You need to obviously make sure your portfolios are diversified. So I have 5 portfolios. I'm not going to break that down right for you now, but the most common one is the S&P 500. On average, it returns about 11%. If you go on to a website called MoneyChimp. You can type in how much you would, if you had £10,000 and you put in £500 a month and you accumulate 7% interest over the next 30 years, on average, you're probably going to walk away with £700,000. Sounds ridiculous, but go away and do the maths. And that's where true wealth is going to get built. Separate video, again, for this year. Start with the basics: spreadsheet, emergency cash fund, use a credit card. Once you've got those things covered, make sure you're invested in your, have a look at index funds. Hargreaves Lansdown is the one I use personally. Highly recommend it. Very easy interface, and have a look at low cost index funds. Very, very simply, don't spread your butter too thin. Pick 2 or 3, very, very diverse. One in America, one in emerging markets, one in something else, emerging technologies, and just put £100 in that every month as a starting point. That's my financial bit for this year. So far we've talked about books and we've talked about finances. Let's move on to fitness. And you'll see where I'm going with this. This is my tracker that I use to track all my workouts. Every red dot is a workout that I've done this year. This is predominantly in my home gym, which I have downstairs, and I converted my garage into a home gym. Again, the outlay for that in total was £500, and I've been using it for 2 years. So now that money that would have spent on a gym membership, I've definitely made back. And I can just walk into my gym any day, anytime. I have a smart plug, which is attached to a heater. If I'm going to go in winter like I've just done now, I'll click it on an hour before I go in, so it's nice and warm. I have a TV, I have a TRX, I have a pull-up stand, I have some kettlebells, I have some bands, and a kickboxing bag. Simple enough. Keep it simple. But basically, this is my yearly activity. Now, the reason why do I do this? Very, very simple. I like to keep track of my progress, and it's also good to see your habits, I guess. So predominantly, I don't predominantly work out on a Monday or Tuesday because I'm in the office. And also there's big chunks in there where I've been away. So at the start of the year, when it's sunny and bright, I don't do as many workouts as I do in the winter because it's cold and miserable outside. So it's a good way of seeing that, but it's also just a good way of going, you know what, I've done a workout, put a sticker on it. And again, it's positive reaffirmation, if you will, of, yeah, you're doing something. I think if you've got a smart watch that records your progress, definitely get one of those. I got my wife one of them this year. She said she didn't want one, but then when I got her one, she's looking at it every time now, and it's a good insight into your insides, which is a good way of putting it. Your heart rate, your VO2 max, your workouts, everything, your stress levels, your body clock, all that type of stuff. So I'd recommend, if you have got any and if you're interested, you might not be interested in it. And fair enough, you don't have to be. But if you are an avid kind of fitness person, I guess, get yourself a smartwatch as well to kind of, that's going to validate everything that you're doing. So I have one, very, very simple, from Garmin, highly recommend. And get yourself a simple like wall planner like that. Costs £3 off Amazon, get some stickers. And it's just that positive affirmation every day of your fitness. One thing that I've invested in, so every year I like to invest in something in the gym. And this year I bought a pull-up bar for £100. I can do press-ups, dips, pull-ups. The pull-up rack has lots of variations of different handles and grips, which again will isolate different body, different heads of your bicep, for example, or your back, your lats, or like your rhomboids, all that type of thing. So I'll try and get a link and I'll put it in the description below. But again, I think a pull-up bar and that rack in general is such a simple way. Calisthenics and actually having the ability to control your body and use your body as your gym. That's why I have a TRX. If you've heard of, I would highly recommend looking at TRX. Every gym has one. And yeah, a fantastic simple piece of kit that you can take on holiday with you as well. Use your body as your own workout is a big piece of advice. And again, this is coming from a personal trainer of 20 years. So yeah, get used to controlling your own body. And yes, by all means do kettlebells and that type of thing. But once you master your own body weight, then you can progress on to the next thing. So we've talked about books, we've talked about finance, we've talked about fitness. Now let's talk about one of the key things that drives all of them, which is your career and your job. I'm at a point in my career where I have an established skill set which I can lift and shift into any company. And the company that I work for now is the company that I want to work for. What I mean by that is the sector interests me, the work, the purpose, the drive, all of that. How you get there though is up to you at the end of the day. And I think a piece of advice is the higher you climb the ladder, the less anybody cares in regards to your development. When you're early on in your career, you need to make sure that you've got people around you that you respect, people that you can look up to, and are good leaders. As you get further up the chain, you'll be amazed how much. Sometimes you're scratching your head going, how have those people even got into those positions? It's crazy. And that's sometimes the world of politics, depending on the size of the business. But focus on yourself. You can't whine and moan if someone gets a promotion that you wanted. Look at yourself. What are you doing to make sure you've done everything to get that position? And as a rule of thumb, I would recommend, if you're early on in your career, don't stay at the same place too long. Couple of reasons for this. You will always be seen as the person that you were when you first joined the company, regardless of the amount of promotions you get. It's just a fact. Unless the people above you also leave, and therefore someone new coming into the business that is more senior sees you as the first thing that they see you as when they first join the company, you'll always be seen as that. You can start as a call center advisor and work your way up to a manager. You'll always be seen as a call center advisor because that's the position that you started off at, and they go, oh yeah, you've worked hard, but you know, you're an advisor, you've worked your way up. If you went to another company, they see you as a manager and therefore up. When you get to a head of position, they see you as a head of position. They don't see you as a call center advisor. So that perception and that growth in your trajectory for your career is key, because sometimes if you stay at the same company too long, they will always see you as the person that when you first started. Hopefully, wherever you're working, it's not like that, but this is just based on my career experience. And that's why I think a couple of tips: make sure you've got a manager that you want to work for and you respect and invest in you. You need to make sure that you're investing in yourself, self-development, podcasts. If you've heard of something called Commuter University, when you get into a car, you should be putting on the radio, you should be listening to a podcast or doing something to a kind of 20 minutes, listening to something, making yourself better, 1% a day, listen to a podcast, even if it takes you 3 days to listen to it, because it's maybe only an hour long, you can only do 20 minutes. That's better than just listening to random music with a load of adverts and get told a load of spiel and being told, this has happened in the news, isn't the world terrible? Focus on what you can control, focus on your development plan, because no one is going to save you at the end of the day. That's a harsh fact. You have to believe in yourself and invest in yourself, because at the end of the day, no one else is. And the further you go up the ladder, that's just more the case. So my advice for your career: have a look at your skill set, have a look at your CV, make sure you update your CV every 6 months, regardless if you think you want a new job or not. It's that positive affirmation again of what have I done, what can I put down into on paper and go, actually, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And it's that kind of, if you feel undervalued, go and find somewhere where you're going to be valued. Don't just hope or think something's going to happen. Nobody cares at the end of the day. Again, this sounds really harsh, but apologies, it's true though. Everybody's out for themselves. Unless you get a really, really good manager that is absolutely behind you, and very, very rare. I've had one really good manager in my career so far where he backed me up to the hilt and protected me. And that's the type of manager you want to be. You want to be admired by the people that you're managing. No one's coming to save you. It's all up to you. So this year, have a look at your CV. If you're not valued, move. Have a look at the market average in regards to salaries and get yourself some more money. You can always find your skill set and find yourself in the most valued place where you're going to make the most money. And that goes all the way back to your finances that we discussed on chapter 2 of this video. Your fitness, which gives you that mental clarity and fitness and overall well-being, which makes you better at your job, which makes you more money, therefore you can invest in self-development into your books. This is how it comes full circle. The job is the key, the income is the key, your finances, how you manage it, is next. Make sure you, alongside this, you're working on your fitness, but also working alongside that is your self-development. It all ties together. Sometimes having that holistic view is difficult, but if you get those three things in a row, your self-development, your finances, your fitness, and your career, you're going to have a better 2025 than most people. So let's reflect on 2024. So first of all, and this is why it's quite key to actually reflect, I completely forgot I had this channel, in the sense of I've been running it and I post daily cold plunges, but then I realised you started that this year. You've got 300 subscribers, which is great, and steady growth, which is great. So thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. YouTube channel is a big achievement, which if you asked me at the start of the year, I never would have expected that. That would have been a goal. But again, why not just do it? The cold plunge, again, I got that in June, maybe May, something like that. And that was the plan. And this is the key thing as well. Plan your year ahead. The reason I got my cold plunge in the summer is because it's the summer. To get a cold plunge in winter and to go from cold showers into a whiskey barrel, an ice bath every day, it would have been too much of a shock to the system. So I started off at like 13 degrees in summer, and now it's like 1 degree, and you go in every day and it's not even that tough. People say to me, like when I have friends and family around, oh, I wish I had the balls to do that. You can do it. I'm not different than any other person. I'm talking about it, yes, because I just want to get other normal people to be extraordinary. There's too many ordinary people. We need better people in the world, don't we? I think that's fair to say in regards to society and that type of thing. So again, the cold plunge is just something that I thought, that's going to be this year's challenge. The YouTube channel, the cold plunge, are probably my two biggest achievements. The financial side I'm happy with, because that's just giving me, kind of stability. I don't have to worry about it. It's kind of, I've got your cash reserve, we know what the income's in, I've got a decent income, I'm open and transparent with my wife about money and that type of thing. So that's cool. We're reading, we're doing piano. It's just getting a well-rounded, we're seeing friends and family, that's a key thing as well. We're going on holidays, we're going on breaks. When you feel stressed and run down, go on a holiday, take some time off. It's really not worth it. Again, I'll do another video on careers and stuff like that, but everyone's disposable at the end of the day. You can be made redundant next week without any hassle. So yeah, I think those are my two big achievements. And again, don't overdo it. Just nice and simple. What are your kind of key achievements for last year? And what are going to be your key achievements this year? Every day I treat like a new challenge. So as long as I'm doing my workout, my cold plunge, I'm reading, I'm doing something creative every day, and I'm trying to control my stress and anxiety and that type of stuff, then everything else will fall into place. Because if I'm looking after me and I'm being the most optimum version of me, when you go looking for new opportunities, you'll all be ready for it. So focus on yourself, and then the big things will come. I would like to I am looking at, I think if I'm being really, really honest, I think to have this channel be monetized would be amazing. It doesn't have to be massive amounts of money, to be fair. Just something, again, as extra disposable to invest in. I think that would be a great achievement. I don't think I'm going to get there with the viewing numbers and that type of stuff, but maybe you guys can help. So yeah, that's an ambition. And then, yeah, we'll just see. We'll just see how it goes. Nice and easy, steady away, 1% a day, and then you're in a really good position. So cool. That, in a nutshell, is my review of 2024, my advice in regards to books, finances, fitness, your job and career, and then a couple of key achievements from last year for me personally. I'd love to hear what are your key achievements. It doesn't matter how big or small. If it's an achievement and it's worthy of you mentioning it, then mention it. Let's get the word out there. We can help each other. So thank you very much for listening. If you are new to this channel, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, all those calls to actions that YouTube's asked for. Again, we're building a slow and steady community, and that's what it is. Don't expect instant gratification. That's the whole point of investment, fitness, career, YouTube channel. You see how there's a trend now? And this is it. Slow and steady wins the race. It really, really does. Don't expect massive wins. And we will see you on the next one. Take care. Smash it out of the park, whatever you're doing. Have a great 2025. And I will see you in the next video, which will be out very shortly. Take care.